This is Valley News Live at 6.
We begin tonight with breaking news. One man is dead after taking his own life in a federal courtroom in Fargo. The U.S. Marshal Service confirmed the death.
A witness inside the courtroom told Valley News Live that the man apparently injured himself in the neck with an object. The incident happened this afternoon at the federal courthouse in downtown Fargo. Valley News Team's Nishay Taylor joins us live outside that courthouse with the very.
Mike, that witness in the courtroom said a man was on trial for a series of charges and was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Now, earlier today, several emergency vehicles were outside the courthouse just to respond to this call. Now, according to the witness, his attorney asked for a 24-hour release, but the judge denied that request. Now, that's when the man stood up and he turned around and appeared to have had slit his throat.
You could hear him screaming, "I can't breathe," and we had left the courtroom at that time, and then they were going in with the AED, and that's when we were getting in the elevator and the ambulance showed up.
Now, the U.S. Marshal's Office stated to us that the investigation is now being turned over to the FBI, and they will be partnering with the Fargo Police Department since they were the first on the scene. Now, as far as further details into this incident, those will not be released until FBI has released more information because the investigation is still ongoing. Now, here live in downtown Fargo, Nishay Taylor, Valley News Live.
All right, thanks, Nishay, and we'll post any updates that we get onto our website at valleynewslive.com.
New tonight at 6, staffing shortages on both sides of the river continue to wreak havoc on local businesses, impacting bars and restaurants' hours and ability to open, with some forced to close altogether.
The Ground Round in Grand Forks will be closed on Sundays at least through May in order to give its skeleton staff a day off. As Valley News Team's Bailey Hurley found out, the food industry isn't the only one feeling the shortages.
We have not been at this level of employers hiring since the summer of 2015.
18,000 jobs currently sit open and available in North Dakota. Sarah Arnson saying most are in the food, hospitality, and healthcare industries. And while most local bars and restaurants are more than happy to be opening back up to normal capacity with little to no COVID restrictions,
it's been super exciting because this is what we've been wanting for so long.
It's hard to be too excited, as finding the people to keep the ship afloat has been anything but easy.
We never want to overwork our staff, and so right now we're not at that point, but we never want to get to that point, and so they're feeling it.
Enquist says there are people applying, but like many other businesses, they don't want to panic hire, saying the quality of workers is important. But Enquist also says their second location wants to expand their hours, while their Rose Creek location is hoping to open their doors soon. Two things that can't happen unless more people are hired.
I just think that maybe with the pandemic, some people could just not be comfortable yet going back.
It's just all been so unprecedented, and right now we really are still trying to figure out exactly what we're dealing with.
In Moorhead, Bailey Hurley, Valley News Live.
Arnson says while no one will ever get to 100% employment, she suggests if you're on the job hunt, try to take some classes to add new skills to your resume in the free time. You can find links to those resources on our Valley News Live app. Just click on this story.
While our mild conditions are expected to continue, our First Alert Storm Team is talking about a bit more active weather pattern moving along this week. Let's start with Hutch, who's here with details on tonight's weather planner. Hutch?
Andrea, good evening. Hello, everyone. After a sizzling weekend with temperatures well into the 80s for many and near 90 today, we still have that dangerous fire condition right now, focusing on the James River Valley and Devil's Lake Basin with a red flag warning there. The heat is on in Roseau-Dahala. That's the hottest weather we have in the area along the international border. The rest of us are near 80 as we head into the evening hours, and the wind a little on the breezy side from the south. Crystal clear skies and a few sprinkles in the Arrowhead of Minnesota. That means blue skies and quiet weather for the valley. Temperatures tonight in the 70s through sunset, then sneaking quickly into the 60s. South winds will continue to be a little on the breezy side. There is unsettled weather in our forecast, and some much needed rain is in the forecast. Not for everyone all the time, though. I'll have the very latest on that in your hour-by-hour planner and the 7-day planner here in just a few moments.
All right, thanks, Hutch.
A man is in jail and facing many charges after leading troopers on a chase. A trooper tried to pull an SUV over this morning for speeding on I-29 between Grand Forks and Thompson. After a short chase, authorities say Douglas Ryerson would eventually stop and then kick at two troopers and bit one of them in the arm. Then, on his way to jail, he jumped out of the patrol car window before being caught again.
A Fargo man is sentenced to more than 4 years in federal prison for his involvement in a violent robbery. Prosecutors say Tion Tyreek Berry was part of a group who robbed someone who responded to an ad promoting prostitution. The victim planned to meet at a Fargo apartment to pay for sex, but instead Berry and the others robbed the person using weapons. Officials say they planned to rob this person thinking they wouldn't call police.
A trial date has been set for the former Minnesota police officer charged in the death of Dante Wright. Former Brooklyn Center officer Kim Potter appeared in a pre-trial hearing this afternoon in Hennepin County. She is charged with second-degree manslaughter. Dante Wright was killed on April 11th after a traffic stop. The former Brooklyn Center police chief says that he believes Potter meant to use her taser on Wright instead of her handgun. Potter's trial is expected to begin December 6th.
A convicted sex offender from Virginia is now facing new charges in Moorhead. Zachary Harding is charged with 10 counts of possessing child porn. Police searched Harding's home after his probation officer requested it. 3 phones and an SD card were confiscated. Detectives found over 300 photos and videos of young children involved in sexual acts. Harding faces up to 100 years in prison.
Meanwhile, this man is in jail after a 2-week search for him. On May 2nd, Timothy Ost was named a person of interest in an aggravated assault case. Police say that he broke into a trailer, stabbed a man before taking off on his bicycle. He was arrested over the weekend on an unrelated warrant.
A pig farm in Minnesota went up in flames, destroying 2 buildings and killing 12,000 pigs. It happened last night at Woodville Pork in Waseca County. 3,000 pigs that were housed in a 3rd building were saved. No one was hurt, and firefighters remained on scene until this morning. The cause of the fire is still under investigation.
A bomb squad was called to a Minnesota bar after a group of treasure hunters brought a mortar round to show it off. Authorities were called to the Nimrod Bar yesterday afternoon after someone said that the mortar round was possibly live. The caller said that the group who brought it in found it at the Shell City Bridge. The mortar is estimated to be from the Korean War era. Officials say it will be disposed of in a safe manner.
In tonight's Legislative Watch, a deal has been reached between the governor and key legislative leaders on a bipartisan budget deal for Minnesota. Governor Tim Walz says it will cover the 2-year period beginning on July 1st and ending June 30th, 2023. It's a budget covering roughly $51 billion. The governor says that he is grateful about the outcome and that it's a good day for Minnesota.
Role modeling in America in 2021 in a bipartisan manner is really, really important. And it did take us a little bit. We get to what may be overtime, but it's pretty normal. But the fact of the matter is this is fiscally responsible, and each of us got priorities that we see. I think when you do that, there's a pretty good argument to be made that a broader swath of Minnesotans are going to feel served by this budget than they would if just one of us did it or if it went the one way.
Deadlines have been set to wrap up the exact dollar amounts by May 28th and final language by June 4th.
There are new mask guidelines in North Dakota. Health officials announcing today that the state is following the CDC's latest mask guidance, which states fully vaccinated individuals can ditch their mask indoors and outdoors in most cases. It's still recommended that you wear a mask in a healthcare setting when flying or taking public transportation, or if your employer or a business requires it. Vaccinated people with a weakened immune systems should consult their doctor for the best course of action.
YWCA Cass Clay is expanding. The group is buying the former Presentation Center convent building and turning it into 19 affordable, safe housing units. This is in addition to the 72 apartments the organization already operates and its emergency shelter, which is the largest domestic abuse shelter in North Dakota. The new housing site will be named Lantern Light in honor of the founder of the Presentation Sisters, who would care for orphans back in the 1700s.
Car rental prices are skyrocketing, and later on Valley News Live at 6, what's contributing to the price surge and what you can do to secure a decent price.
Hot weather and prolonged drought conditions, extreme out to our western counties. And this sent in by Joni of the fight of fires. A lot of water required to put out fires. This near Maple Lake, Minnesota. We'll have your forecast, which does include a chance of rain. Details next.